If you've invested in multiple certifications, but you still aren't signing consistent clients at the rate or level that you want, this might be why. I'm Elle, and I help you get more clients consistently. If you've done multiple certifications, I know a few things about you for sure. You care deeply about your work. You want to get transformative, powerful results. You aren't here to play. You are trying to do the real deep things with people. You're trying to get to the root. You want the changes that you help people with to last, and you're probably an expert. You're probably very, very good at what you do. And this can be one of the most frustrating pieces about being a service provider or a highly trained coach, is that you are probably one of the most transformative, powerful people in your industry and in your niche, but maybe people don't know about you and you kind of feel like the best kept secret on the internet. And so it can be frustrating to figure out, how do I find more clients? How do I scale? How do I grow? I'm doing okay right now. Maybe you have referrals or you have a system to generate leads that's just enough for one-on-one, but you want to grow. You want to create a group program. You want to have more offerings, and you don't know how to reach more people. You don't know how to create messaging or a product that really, really resonates with your audience so that they sign up more easily to work with you. And so what can happen is that when this pattern continues, the next logical step can feel like, well, I need another certification. I need to get trained in breath work. I need to get trained in a movement modality. I need to get trained in hypnotherapy. I need to get trained in something more, because if I have more certifications and I'm more of an expert and I know more of what I do, people will say, this person knows the most. I want to work with the person who knows the most. And so they will sign up to work with you at a higher rate. But I want to let you know today that that is not what leads to sales. Unfortunately, for those of us who love to be experts and love to deliver a really high level product, it can be kind of a reality check to learn that becoming the biggest expert and the most knowledgeable in your field does not translate to sales. This really came to a head for me in my own business when I was running my relationship repatterning program, doing a lot of deep relational work and attachment work with people. I wanted to be the expert of experts. I came from academia. I value expertise. And so I spent a lot of time trying to prove how much I knew. And I would create a lot of value content and educational content. I would do master classes, but I would teach too much. I would go too deep. I would talk about concepts that people didn't really need to know in order to create transformation, because transformation happens from, coming into a container with me by doing the work in their own body, in their own system, in their psyche, and in their mind. They didn't need more education. I was just trying to show how much I knew, thinking that they would see, this person just knows a whole lot. They're such an expert. They're obviously going to be able to help me the most. That is not what creates sales. And so what really changed the game for me and allowed me to start having more signups for my events, over 100 people every single time, what allowed me to sell out every single thing that I launched from then forward for years, was learning how to talk about my offer in such a way that made it valuable to people, that highlighted the value that it would bring to their life. It had nothing to do with expertise. It had everything to do with strategy and structure in my business and in my programs, and how that bled into my marketing and my messaging and my positioning. If you are delivering solid work right now and your issue is more, I need more clients, another certification is not the answer. And I don't want to see you making this mistake that I see a lot of people making. What's happening a lot of times here is it's actually giving us a sense of progress and a sense of control. It's making us feel like we're doing something in our business, when in reality, we're avoiding the work that actually leads to more clients, that actually leads to a scalable offer that can grow with you. And so we're not solving the actual problem when we sign up for another certification. So what is the thing that we should be doing? It's taking the body of work that we already provide, that we already do, and creating a way to package it more clearly. This is why I teach all of my clients, and this is what we do in our signature program Provider, is create a framework for your unique body of work. What is it that you do with people? Either step by step. What are the key pillars? What are the key transformations? There are many ways to flesh out and give shape and form to your body of work. But this is the key step that goes from holding information, holding expertise and translating it into a method that can be delivered and understood by your audience. This helps people see exactly how they will experience transformation, exactly how you will deliver and how you will show up. It creates confidence for them in the transformation that they can experience inside of your program. Because let's face it, a lot of times we're asking people to make a big investment that requires a lot of trust, and your audience is getting to know you. And creating a framework is a way to give them a boost of confidence, to show that, hey, I really am an expert. I really have thought about this. These are the steps I take people on. It makes it tangible and clear and real, and immediately ups your know, like, and trust factor. And that increased know, like, and trust factor is what leads to people saying yes more easily to working with you and creates more sales in your business. So I want to talk a little bit about what it looks like before you create this unique modality and the type of shift that I want you to think about creating in your own content, in your own messaging, in your own sales calls. So before you have created a unique modality, before you have created your framework for your business, your content probably includes some of the following. Maybe you're talking about broad concepts or broad transformations, things like reclamation, empowerment, and healing that don't really translate to people's everyday life. You might be using a lot of jargon. You might be saying things like somatics, interoception, parasympathetic nervous system, sympathetic nervous system response, window of capacity, alchemy, awakening. You might be using words that are jargon from these certifications. And this is how the certifications can work against you, because when you're in those certifications, you're in with a bunch of people in a kind of soup of this is what we all do and we all understand it. But that does not translate to your audience. And so you're spending more time in this soup of people who really know, and you're using all this insider language instead of spending time practicing how to talk to people who are just out there living their lives, who don't understand all of that, who aren't practitioners, who are looking for you. Another way that this can show up in your content or in your messaging on your sales pages is that you might use the modalities themselves. You might say, I use XYZ modality. I am a so-and-so trained coach. People don't know about that. And that is probably not doing anything for creating more trust in you. Unless they really, really know that teacher and really, really follow them, they aren't going to care that you have a certain type of certification. They just want to know that you can help them achieve the results they're looking for and or help them solve a problem that they are seeking a solution to. Another way you can know that your language is too vague and that you really need to spend time developing your own modality is that your sales calls feel a little fuzzy. You have a hard time explaining your work. You have a hard time saying what it is that you do. You have a hard time talking about what outcomes your clients get. All of these things mean that your audience is probably kind of confused about what it is that you do with people. And when they're confused, they won't come to classes with you. They won't come to lead events. They won't sign up for offerings. They won't book sales calls. And so the first thing we must do is create crystal clarity in your audience's mind about what you do with people. And that is one of the primary functions of a framework for your business. Another way not having enough specificity, not having a modality shows up in your messaging or in your business currently is that you talk in general terms around the type of container that you provide. You talk about the type of coaching or the type of work you do. You might say we do tantric coaching, we do relationship coaching, we do health coaching, we do Pilates, we do breath work, we do movement, we do embodiment, somatics. However, people don't really understand what those words mean. They don't understand the difference between what they've been doing in therapy for 10 years. They don't understand the difference from the yoga class they went to down the street. And one of your primary responsibilities is, as a business owner, is helping people see the difference and the gap between what they've been trying and where they want to go. So if they're over here with this problem, they don't want to experience that anymore. They want to get over here where they have the solution that they're looking for. There's something they haven't been trying in the middle, and it's not going to make sense to them for you to explain it as you need a somatic approach. You need to try breath work. They don't really know what those modalities mean. That's not their job to know, right? You're the practitioner. They're just living their lives and they're looking for a solution, but it's your job to understand how to translate that modality into a tangible outcome or a tangible solution. They're thinking, I need to stop feeling this way. I need to stop experiencing this. I don't want to have this anymore. I don't want to have these thoughts. I don't want to have slow growth in my business. I don't want to not be able to have a deep, loving partnership. I don't want to be alone forever. I don't want to keep being overweight. I don't want to keep struggling with food noise. I don't want to keep feeling like my muscles are too weak and I'm going to get osteoporosis when I'm older. Like, these are the solutions that they're looking for. They're not thinking, I really need to do Pilates. They're thinking, I don't want to end up with osteoporosis. They're not thinking, I think I need to try somatics. They're saying, I don't know why I can't make a man stay. And it's your job to translate your work into those everyday sentences, those everyday problems that they need, because people don't buy the container of coaching. They don't buy the method of coaching. They buy a solution to their problems or an outcome. So what a framework actually is, it is a defined, clear path for people from problem to solution. It is your unique way of solving a specific issue or related set of issues. This creates clarity, consistency, scalability, and sustainability in your business. When you don't have a framework and you don't have structure, it leads to inconsistent sales. It leads to messaging and content and copy that doesn't really make sense to people. It leads to your work feeling hard to explain. People scroll on by your posts without stopping and saying, oh, they're talking to me. Whereas with a framework, you have a clear offer. People can easily say yes. They know exactly what they're getting on a call with you to talk about solving. And it creates a pathway for them to say, yes, this is the place where I want to do this work. So you do not need more training, most likely, if you're here. You need to organize the work that you already have and that you're already doing with people, because you already have the expertise. You just haven't gone through the steps to make it usable yet. So a little micro action step you can take from what we've talked about today is to look at your journey, your ideal clients' journeys, and your certification, the arcs of each of those, and look at the ways they intersect. Look at the types of problems that you have solved in your own life, that you have helped other people solve, and that you are trained to help solve. Start grouping them into themes and start thinking about, okay, if I had to narrow down to talk about one thing, not forever, but just for right now, what would that be? This can start helping you think about some of those more specific messages that you can provide that to create more clarity in your audience and help you close more sales. So I would love to invite you to comment below on what is your specific niche or problem area that you help with, any ahas you've had from this video. Make sure that you are signed up to get notifications from this channel, because next week we're going to be talking a little bit more about how to create that framework on a deeper level. This is the work we do inside of our core program called Provider, and I would love to take you a little bit deeper into what that looks like. You can also sign up for the Provider waitlist below. So if you know that this is something you're going to want to do, you want to talk sometime about how to do that work together in community, go ahead and grab a spot on that waitlist, and you will have first dibs the next time we're open.